Hello, this is Ning Tong. I hope you have seen the little film of my visual experiment in sustainable design. Actually, it is just a short personal reflection of my thoughts on sustainability. At the same time, I have created a simple graphic guide, and now I will use it to present my reflections on this course, critical positions, the workshops, my identity as a student, a teacher, a designer, and what I have learned. I will describe each of the following 6 points, which are sustainability, research methods, discursive design, critical thinking, mapping, and term reflections. Obviously, at the beginning of the course, our group chose sustainability as our theme, but at first we had no idea, so we put together a primary mapping similar to a brainstorming workshop with our own approaches and ideas. During our discussions, we emerged with a united point of view for humans, nature, and economy are interdependent, and that all three elements are indispensable in the whole chain of development. Fortunately, though the concept may be a bit too large and abstract for us, after I read a lot of literature and various academic presentations, such as Professor John from Arizona State University, Matthew, the founder and CEO of Word, and Professor Teja Cheyenne, there is no denying that we are on the right direction with our viewpoint, and I choose this quote as a start point of my thinking. Sustainable design is the approach to creating products and services that have considered the environmental, social, and economic impacts from the initial phase through to the end of life. But as I said in the video, some people may think that sustainability is too ambitious for the average people, as if it were out of reach. The concept sounds more like an environmental policy. But to this, as a designer and a student keen to explore different medias, I think sustainability is a way of thinking, a development process for where past, present, and future trends are heading. It is also a kind of deep reflection about the outside world and independent individuals. It doesn't only exist in product packaging, branding concepts, architecture, traditional paper media, but it actually links in each of our daily lives from time to time. And in the course of learning and exploring research methods, we have gained an understanding of each person's view of sustainability. Firstly, of the many examples of research, I have to refer to the one that stood out to me, emotionally vague. The author believes that emotions do not only exist in people's mind, but may also be present in the body. He wanted to explore and experiment by collecting different people's descriptions of their own emotions, some through colors, some through interviews and words, some through simple lines and patterns. I found the whole process of research and the documentation very interesting and impressive. To be honest, a lot of times during my personal research, I don't really know what I'm going to do. The simple fact is that I don't have a clear target. So I've always wasted a lot of time for very little gain. So now I think the direction of the research is important, as well as the way the data is analyzed and processed. I listed out 3 keywords as my reflection: clearly, directly, and qualitative. So, in researching everyone's views of sustainability, I came up with a list of 3 main questions, which proved to be a quick way to improve my efficiency and not to be overwhelmed all the time. Interestingly, the interviewees had different views on the concept of sustainability. Some think of it as personal qualities, some as environmental protection, while some others view it as a circle system of doing things. This actually defined the direction of my visual experiment, and I wanted to illustrate this abstract concept through my own understanding of sustainability. And if you ask me, what is the point of me doing this? What is my motivation for doing this? I think I will probably explain my views and ideas in terms of discursive design and critical thinking. During the first session of the course, our group discussed about the differences between graphic design and illustration. We proposed that graphic design is more focused on functionality for communicating information, solutions for transformation of the medium, and commercialism, while illustration seems to be more to personal style as well as providing emotional value. As I am an interdisciplinary student, I switched from illustration to graphic design, and I have come up with more ideas about this. Especially in the past 2 years, I have felt more and more that graphic design is also an emotion, a way of moving yourself before moving your audience. The significance and the value of a complete piece of work lie not so much in the final product, but rather in the ability to resonate ideas audience through the work. At first, I just used it as a tool to release stress and express my emotions. Until now, I hadn't realized that I had been subconsciously engaged in sustainable design for quite some time. Even waste materials can unveil their secondary value, even if it's just an exploration of a visual experiment. When I read the document from the course, a book called Teaching Critical Thinking, it touched me in many ways. I had mentioned in a casual conversation with Tao that I had some interesting internship experiences. I have many tags. I am a student, I am an arts teacher for a dozen kids, and I am a commercial artist and designer. I feel that critical thinking, more than just a way of thinking, also encourages me to find some kind of balance. It's a feeling that seems hard to put into words. I am often annoyed by my students' tendency to use "I don't know" as a standard answer to any of my questions. I know that they actually have their own ideas, but they are afraid to ask questions or thinking. As a student, I also have this problem. Therefore, I think it is very important to encourage students to use critical thinking. So, to me, personally, I think critical thinking is a two-way street. Not only are students required to think critically, but for teacher guidance, it is also important. The same applies between the designers and the audience. And when the topic shifted to sustainable design, I thought that the work itself could use waste materials, but more than that, it can also be a concept or an appeal. Many people care about the final effect of the work, the aesthetics, so they will choose those expensive and real materials. However, I believe that a truly good work is one that inspires people to think through it, not just looking good. I think those could explain my thinking about sustainable design as a graphic designer. Also, I have added a little bit about graphic design itself, a small part of my understanding. In the mapping course, we mapped out the structure of the human body from top to bottom after a complex discussion that included commercialism, personal style, and emotional value about art. Graphic design seems to be more inclined to realize commercial value, while it also needs to weigh up the balance between personal style and emotional value. That's what I was talking about earlier, finding a balance, balancing the weight between the individual and the audience. I would like to end my presentation with a quote from Marcel Duchamp. The artist performs only one part of the creative process. The onlooker completes it, and it is the onlooker who has the last word. And yes, that's all about my presentation. Thank you for listening. Bye.